you know, like when you talk to people like back home, and like ask like what like they want to do, you know, it's always kind of the same thing. We're like, oh, we're gonna go to Pismo or like LA. Like no one has any bigger aspirations like outside of like the valley. It's like, oh, you know, you could go somewhere else. Like there's 50 states, and, you know, what is it, like 193 or 95 countries that we could like travel to easily. Um, and so yeah, like that's a big thing too, is like nobody thinks bigger because like no one really does it, like is the other part of it. And so like I didn't realize like how like crazy me like backpacking was until my old roommate from college, so he's from Lindsay, Adrian, he got married. And so I was at his wedding, and his cousin, you remember Diego Loya, um, so he was there, and so his family was there. And so like I was like chatting with him, and so I met his folks, and he was like, oh yeah, like this is my friend Benny, like he was the guy, like he's the guy I've been telling you about that's been like backpacking. And I was like, oh shit, like, you know. And then like that's kind of when it dawned on me more that like, yeah, there's not a lot of people from Lindsay that have done that, so there's not, you know, a lot of like firsthand knowledge for people from Lindsay to be like, oh yeah, like, you know, like Nick's like, you know, backpacked and he's been to all these different places and things like that. And so yeah, like that was kind of one of the crazy things that I realized about that. Because yeah, like I remember being in Lindsay, like in school, and like, you know, like there was never like conversations like that, like outside the valley. Like I remember like me and like my like crew of like buddies, we all wanted to like get out. Like we were just like, no, like there's nothing here. Like, you know, like I need to get as far away from this fucking place as humanly possible. And like yeah, like I mean, because like for me, like I just knew that there was way more out there, and like there's way more to life. And so you know, like just not a lot of people see that or experience that or like know someone that has. So it's like, okay, like, you know, you don't have any other perspective on things because you haven't, you know, done so, whether like by choice or just literally someone else talking about like, oh yeah, you know, like the East Coast is like dope, you know, to be, you know, like in the fall to like check out the foliage and, you know, shit like that. So
I don't think. Sometimes I debate this with myself. Are some people just travelers and have the bug, or is it just something as taking balls and doing it instead of concentrating on reasons and why you shouldn't do it? But I also do like know a lot of people that still live in the valley that have moved to like LA or traveled a bit and they go back and they're like, I love all that stuff. Stuff's cool, but this is home. This is nostalgia, and I miss a lot of that sometimes. At the same time, I think I'm built a little different, where I like to, you know, see what else is out there just for perspective. But yeah, just for clarification, some people in the valley love it, and sometimes I'm a little jealous of them because they got family, friends from day one. Day one, people that you could always count on. But I do hope more people from Lindsay travel. I think it's, even if you move back, you're bringing some type of value. I have a cousin that did that, and she's helping out so much with what she does in her church and other situations. But I don't know. I just think traveling is always going to be a learning experience and help a perspective. But I don't think just because you don't travel, you don't have some type of benefit. You know what I mean? I guess I'm just trying to like
Well,
be
no,
clear.
I think it's definitely good to get out. You know, I think
Yeah.
there's definitely benefit to getting out of a place. But I see what you're saying. You know, there's so many ties in a small town like that. Shoot, and yeah, I kind of miss that too sometimes. You know, foothills and that small town feel. But something about it, man. Something about getting out. But I definitely dig the point of traveling is fun, but also it's just a learning experience. You know, see what's
mhm.
out there, see some
Well,
other
no, and like
stuff.
that's yeah, really, really honestly what it is. Because like yeah, like I mean, there's points where I miss the valley for the same reasons, and then like I've had conversations with my cousin about that. A treasure hunter, you know, like so American Pickers, like that's what she does. Like she just like goes all around and like finds cool shit and resells it. And she's like, yeah, you know, like kind of said the same thing. She's like, yeah, you know, obviously it's great to be around your family, but then you kind of realize pretty quick that it's always on repeat. Like it's just kind of the same thing, you know. So like even though you're not there, like even whenever you go back, it's always going to be kind of the same thing. Like, oh yeah, you know, we're gonna hang out, we're gonna barbecue, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. So nothing really changes, which is kind of sad, but also it's like nice to just go back to like that familiarity and like just have that like, all right, you know, like, you know, um, because that's one thing that I honestly liked, going back to Lindsay, like especially just from like, you know, going to school and then like working was, it's a great place to just decompress and like not have to like think about like all the different moving pieces, and just know like, okay, like life's slow out here, you know, I can just relax. I don't have to like deal with all like traffic and all kinds of other like day-to-day shit that I always have to deal with. Like I could just go like, you know, chill out in Strathmore with my cousin and like, you know, like not have to think about anything for a few days. And um yeah, like that's definitely what like I've always liked about it and what I miss um from it. But then I also know too, like I can't be around that for too long, just because of like how much I've gotten out. Like I just know like there's always something else I could be doing, or you know, some other thing I could be exploring or
Well,
experiencing.
do you think it's something embedded in you specifically, or certain types of people specifically that are just more prone to traveling, or do you think it's some people just choose not to take the leap?
I think it's a bit of both, honestly, because you know, it's kind of one of those things like you don't know if you don't like it unless you've tried it. So you know, like you know, someone can go on a vacation somewhere and you know, or like go backpacking and like they could just be like, you know, like I don't like this shit. This shit isn't for me. Like I don't, you know, fuck with like hostels and like, you know, I need an itinerary and like a plan. But you know, they can still like travel internationally. So like that's still fine. Obviously, you know, if you want to still like get out and like do that. Um, and then yeah, I think the other thing too is that yeah, certain people like just like I guess like myself just kind of have that innate like actually my great aunt, she says like me and my cousin were gypsies, because like we kind of have that mentality of where we're just like down to pick up and go, and she'd be like, oh, let's go here, right? Fuck it, like you know, let's
And
make
then
this shit happen.
the next day, after hearing you were a gypsy, you went and got your lip ring.
Yeah, no,
Because you kind
this
of
is
look
college.
gypsy right now. Well, what do you think? What do you think about that? Is there like an innate nature in someone specifically that wants to travel, or is it just taking a leap of faith and doing it?
You know what I gotta ask, Benny? Are you a middle child, a baby, or the oldest?
Middle.
Okay. I wonder if that plays into it. You know, because I'm the baby of my family. I think you're the
Yeah.
baby, right? And so there's a lot of research that goes into, you know, where your mentality's at as an older child, as a middle child, and as a baby child. And so I wonder if, you know, because as an older child, you have more responsibility, right? You have to watch over the younger children. You're usually having to do some chores around the house early on. And so you develop that responsibility factor, whereas the younger siblings are like more free to do whatever they want. And so they have that more kind of ambition to, you know, pack up and go, you know. And
Well, and you also could learn from the older ones' experiences, what to do, what not to do. I think
yeah, right,
sometimes.
right. But yeah, it's interesting though. But you know, you almost like you can see both sides though, right? Because I can see the need for travel, but I can see the need for staying, you know, in a
Yeah,
place.
honestly, so my great aunt is a perfect example of that. So you know, she's from Lindsay, and well, not from Lindsay, but you know, lives there. And so her husband, my uncle, so he was in the military, and so like he traveled the world. Like I found out like a few years ago, so he was like fluent in like 5 languages. So like he spoke English, French, Spanish, Italian, and I don't know what else. Um, and so like he literally like traveled the world like several times, and like saw like Europe get destroyed and get rebuilt, and like you know, experience all this crazy shit. And I was talking to my uncle, and like he said he's like, yeah, my dad said he always wanted to live in France, but like my aunt, like she just doesn't want to travel. Like she has no desire for that shit at all. Like she's totally cool with like just, you know, like going to visit family. Like so she'll go to like Mexico like for that, and like that's kind of like what her like travel entailed. um and yeah, like you know, I could see that like, you know, why like she was like that. Just kind of, you know, growing up in her generation, um and you know, just like understanding like, you know, just having no desire to do that. Because also too, like I think like the other thing as well is because you know, she grew up in the 30s, so like that was like during the like Great Depression and like all these wars. And so like all like kind of the instability at that time, it makes sense that like you wouldn't want to leave. Like if you got like, all right, no, like I got my house and I got my job and like I got everything here, like why would I want to go somewhere else where like there's all this uncertainty? So like that makes I mean, a lot of sense. And like for me, like I don't know, like I guess this other thing too is just like from being in school and being poor and like not having to like afford food at certain point in times, like just like backpacking, like it made sense because yeah, there was like times when I'd get off the plane in a new country and I didn't know where I was sleeping and it didn't really bother me. I was like, like I'll figure it out. Like, there's plenty of options.
The same can be said for like owning a business, right? That feel of uncertainty. People just don't like that, man. They like the security of having a steady paycheck coming in every 2 weeks. And we in the business world we talk about that all the time. It's like, shit, if it was easy, everyone would do it, type of thing, right? And you have to have that mentality of uncertainty could be good. I'll see what happens and I'll roll with it, right? Roll the dice and see what happens.
You're not gonna gain any type of reward from playing it safe. You gotta throw the dice sometimes. You're gonna get burnt. But like landing in a new country or a new town and not knowing where you're gonna sleep for the night, like that's a great experience. Something that that it's hard to replicate when you come back home. I found that type of like, uncertainty and truly danger because there's no one around. Even if you call anybody, they're not coming because you don't know anyone in this place.